Erica, Ghastly, Lils, Gabriella, Slippy, Hungry, Jensen, not first. That's funny. Thanks for being here, guys. Love ya. Happy to see ya. Cucksock, I like your name. Hope one day I'll be a cucksock. Let's read It's So Scary. He is. Let's read is a scary boy. Thank you, Jensen. That's very generous of you. $69 viewers. Oh jeez, this tea is really hot. Some hot tea going down my knees. A lot of the tea I got is now very aromatic. So the voice is soothing. That's what I like to hear. Not so much as it being a compliment to me, but more so knowing that my stream settings are working a-okay. Maria, I notice you. I see you. I see into your soul. La 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 la. Guys, I've been doing. Am I sick? Yeah. I'm. You know, I've said last time I was on the tail end. Noah Holden's got the spoon ready. Clank. Spoon clanks. I was on the tail end of a sickness, but I don't know if it's just the humidity or what, but that's really making it linger as some sort of allergies. I don't really think I've ever had allergies per se. Sarcastic Cat, you submitted a story. That is good to hear. We're about to read some stories for this old stream here. That there stream. Robin, what's up? Welcome. See your handiwork on screen here. I helped you with your insomnia. That makes me feel good. That is like the craziest thing, hearing about assisting with that, because I'm looking for that miracle cure on YouTube as well. Bennikins with the 2, and she says, let the buttery sockness begin. Yes, let it all begin. I've got my butter socks on. Do you? Have you joined the cult yet? Let's read. Where did you notice or realize you wanted to read stories on YouTube? I don't know. I was just wanted to do something creative on YouTube, and excuse me, one day I decided to give it a whirl. I had some experience with being a sound guy in a collegiate documentary film, and had basically bought that microphone that we used. And thought, oh, nobody on YouTube reads stuff. So I started off reading wiki pages and all that good stuff. And, yeah, it just evolved from there. Like, once I found Creeps McPasta and Mr. Creepypasta and saw the success that they had, I kind of followed suit and did creepypastas. And then from that point on, Mr. Nightmare popped up on the scene, and I was like, well, this seems to be... people seem to like these stories, and I was like, also this would make great content because a lot of the subscribers could submit stuff as well, so kind of went down that route. Have I considered starting a podcast? I actually, as a matter of fact, have one. Not necessarily where I'm just talking like these streams or anything like that, but where I am basically it's like a, what's it called, a compilation of my 3 videos from the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but compiled into one like 3-hour long narration podcast. And so that's on, it's just called the Let's Read Podcast. You can find it on all the primary stuff like iTunes and Spotify, and yeah, Gothic Rose with the 2 Canadians says, hope your day was awesome. Thank you, Gothic. It was a good day. I was looking forward to this stream. My car had been saying, what's it called? Maintenance required, but I took it to a friend to get it, like, scanned or whatever with his machine, and he's like, oh yeah, that's just a normal thing, you know, depending on where you went to. They preset it to almost, like, at 5,000 additional miles to come up as necessary. But I'll have to look up a YouTube tutorial or something on how to get rid of that. Shannon Farmer, thank you for the 5. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. And this is different. This is not very common, but we have a new member. Welcome, Victoria Red. Thank you, Victoria, for becoming a member. I know, yeah, that's the sound right there of becoming a member. It's a beautiful sound. I'll have to find a new emoji for that. Because we don't get that too often, but now you have access to the little space skeleton emoji and cat bug. So that's exciting. YouTube recently switched over from oh, Jensen, yeah, you were a mechanic for 5 years. I thought that for a second. I was like, well, Jensen probably knows about cars. That goddamn son of a bitch know everything about everything, goddamn. Lisbeth Ramirez with the 10 says, the best of the best, the cream of the crop. You are here to witness glory in the making. But yeah, as far as the membership goes, YouTube is getting away. I think they're shutting down like the whole YouTube gaming aspect. I believe, you know, obviously that was kind of like, they called it YouTube gaming and they were trying to be like a streaming service, which they still are. But now I think it's just all like through the website. It's the normal website itself. And so there was some sort of announcement that I saw. It was that they were gonna move the join button, though it was kind of confusing because I've seen it on other people's channels like Busta and stuff like that. And you know, now my channel has a join button, so I don't know. Thank you for joining. And you got the cat bug, woohoo. That's awesome. Dionysus Lee says, you were wondering what kind of stories you're going to read tonight. We are going to read some subscriber stories from the Let's Read official subreddit. That's reddit.com/r/Let's Read official. And you can submit all your stories there. People can submit them over email to the Let's Read submissions email, and that's fine. But I think they have a much higher likely chance of getting narrated on the channel if they are submitted through the subreddit. Bennikin's at it again with the 2, says, also have love for Buttersocks, Pradeep, Kidit, and you. Always have. Well, thank you. Yeah, Pradeep has been, my dirty laundry, well, it's clean laundry, has just been laying on my bed. I've had no motivation to fold it, so he has not had quite as much space or motivation to get in here and lay on my comfy, cozy area. So he's been out in the living room today, doing his thing, watching chipmunks jump around. Jenny ate a scene kid. That's a great name. With the 2 says, thanks for the stories. I work nights, so it helps. That's good. I hope it doesn't freak you out too much on night shift. And Lils with the 2 says, for chicks and ticks comment on previous streams. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for, chicks and ticks. That's what we got here in Pennsylvania. Zachary McKevitt, downloading profile details from com.youtube. You're getting ready. This stream, you are prepping and preparing. What do I look like? Oh, that's the age-old question. You're gonna have to join the Discord to find out. Also, guys, everything is in the description down below where it says show more. You can click that and it will tell you all about my social media where you can follow. I'll let you know when I'm streaming on there. Hopefully you've hit that notification bell. You've hit that bell many a time to be alerted of all future narrations. Also, the subreddit is down there as well. Got all the good stuff. Just hanging out down in the big pile of mush down below. You just gotta click on all that mush. And then the Discord, yes, is linked down below. If you guys are familiar with Discord, if you're already part of ones, you basically just click that and you get invited immediately. And once you make it to Discord, you can go to the selfies/pets channel and go to the pin messages, and you might just see something you like. You like heart my aesthetic, thank you. I go for that scene aesthetic. Oh, and welcome back. Natalia has arrived. I'm happy. I do have an Instagram, Hardcore from Hell. Let's read official on Instagram. I like Instagram the most, probably just because I think I get the most interaction from the user base on there. It might just because they're younger. Jensen says, Let's Read looks like a prime example of what humans could evolve to if we would just spread handsome cream on ourselves every day and use butter socks on their crotch. It's true. This is true. It took millions of years, but I was finally able to achieve the perfect mustache. Perfect for looking, perfect also for riding across the barren strait, depending on the ice at that time. Base Kicker 88 with the 2 says, Mad love for your channel, thank you for being badass. You're welcome, thank you for the 2. What's my favorite movie genre? I really like science fiction. Even more so science horror fiction. Big fans of the movies Ghost in the Shell, The Fountain, Cloud Atlas. 2001 Space Odyssey I sometimes like to fall asleep to right when it's like as it's starting, and then wake up at the end where they're like it's literally so loud you can't help but be risen from your slumber. And then say I've actually watched it. I've definitely given it a hard try. I've been watching Plan B on loop. Is that like a B movie? Is that similar? Gothic, thank you, thank you. I'm trying my best. Aries Ciriello with the 2 says, Love your stories, gets me through Overwatch. I need something to get through Overwatch. I was playing yesterday with Jensen, we were playing, and he was carrying hardcore, so... But I was triggered the whole time by our team's odd choices. I'm so ready for that game to have, roll lock. I know that would upset a lot of people, but... I just want to go into the game, you know, kind of having a standard expectation. You know what I mean? Because right now, I think a lot of people generally would agree that the heroes who are most fun are the heroes that are most fun are the DPS, and I think we're all ready to, I mean, I don't know. Everybody wants to insta-lock DPS. I've bitched about that game enough. I don't even care anymore. I hope it fails. Zach Nah says, no stories, I guess. Oh yeah, we're getting to the stories. We're just, we are getting... Just getting a little acclimated to the weather here. Everybody's getting nice and comfy, cozy, getting their popcorn ready because things are going to get spooky dooky. And I just wanted to have a nice little chat with you. Daz says, try Rainbow Six Siege. I want to. I definitely do, and I think I tried it briefly. It was a little frustrating. Didn't go extraordinarily well. But I definitely know that probably is a game that I'm most likely going to get addicted to next. Drop Y with the 229 says, please do more podcasts on Spotify. Love from NL. I'm not sure where NL is. That New Leland? But yeah, basically Spotify gets the podcasts pretty much at the same time. probably about once a week, just because if I did it too often, I would kind of catch up to my content here, and the podcast is sort of be like mainly just like a compilation of everything. But Colin Grandmond with the 5 says, my daddy Joel is back at it again. Here's some of those maple-soaked doll hairs with some baguettes. I needed the baguettes, I need the energy, so thank you. Oh, Netherlands is NL, that's good to know. You should check out Snarled. She's a cool channel consisting of her reading viewer horror stories and folk tales and myths. That sounds interesting. I like that name, Snarl. You need to change the stream to a Q and hey. That's funny. Well, on that note, actually, I usually give it about 15 minutes. We're 15 to 20 minutes. We're about 16 minutes in now. You guys have been awesome so far, so thank you for being here. We're close to 200 viewers. Make sure you click that like button as we are streaming here, because from what I hear, if you can just get a ton of likes, it lets YouTube know that we need to push this stream out to a few more individuals. So just let each other know there to click that like button or lose your fingers. Just kidding. Maybe you'll get extra fingers if you click it. Who knows? Gothic Rose, 40 more subs to 500 subs. Excited. That is great. It's a big milestone, and as time goes on, it's gonna get easier. Just gotta stick with it. So we're switching over to the dark ambient noises of Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, with the amazing art of Robin Mikalsen, who is also linked down in the description if you ever need someone to do some cool special effects for a video or edited video or make a thumbnail. Robin is your guy. You will not regret it. Tonight we're going to be delving into some subscriber stories. The first one sounds interesting, called Scumbag Attack. We've all heard the ancient folklore myths of the scumbag. The scumbag slithers up behind you, throwing itself over top of you, covering you in scum. Little Dorito, click that like button. We're clear for launch. Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Kick this one off here for you. Once the story's done, let me know what you think about it, too. That's the fun thing about these. You get to have a little bit of feedback on the stories, and maybe even hear yours this time, which would be even more fun to hear it live. I hope I don't say anything rude about it. Drop with a 229 says, let's start. You got it. We're making it happen. Esther with the 2 says, butter my socks, please. Coming right up. I'm a 20-year-old female, and this happened to me about a month ago. One night, I was at an old school friends of mine with some other people I hadn't seen in quite a while. To be honest, I was feeling good and much better than I had in a long time. A couple of days later, my best friend and 2 male friends and I, only one of whom I actually knew, were going to go on a trip to Morocco. So, the guy I knew well was also that little party. Was also at that little party. Okay. Oh yeah, we're gonna need someone to be in charge of mistakes. You could democratically figure that out amidst yourselves. So the guy I knew well was also at that little party, and after everyone had only been drinking beer and the wine was empty, he and I decided we wanted more wine. A few of us headed to a girl who only lived a few blocks away to get some more. When we got back, the guy and I downed pretty much 1 bottle on our own. I must note here that I hadn't had a drink for about half a year before that, so it definitely had somewhat of an effect on me. Soon after that, everyone decided they wanted to go home. I didn't realize what time it was. One of the other guys and I could ride our bikes together for a while before we had to go straight ahead where I had to go... What the fuck? Ailey Rain, thanks for the buckaroony. I don't even know what this is saying. One of the other guys and I could ride our bikes together for a while before I had to go straight ahead where I had to go to the left. Okay, so this is just a, okay. A direction. A very detailed paragraph about directions. Why, I'm not sure. One of the other guys and I could ride our bikes together for a while before he had to go straight ahead where I had to go to the left. He asked me if I was okay going on my own, and I laughed and assured him yes. We separated, and I had turned on some music to listen to over headphones. I took my usual route, along smaller streets before taking a path along a lake. I always took this path home whenever I had been out. Along the lake is this creepy statue of a boy holding a fish in his hands, which has always given me this weird feeling. But tonight it was way more intense. The feeling didn't leave. But I quickly brushed it off for being somewhat drunk for the first time in a while and returned to the happy thoughts I had about the nice evening and the upcoming trip. Because of previous encounters and some things that happened to me in the past, I am actually scared very easily when alone and am not this stupid and naive. If I hadn't been a little drunk and so distracted by my thoughts, I would have actually, oops. Victoria Red with the 20 says, thank you for the constant incredible content. My twin sister and I have been listening to you for years and you've always been the best. Well, thank you, Victoria. First a member and then a huge donation, so thank you so much. I hope you and your twinsy are having an amazing night here. Thank you. Joel Ark. Hey, same name. More catfish, let's not meet again stories. I like that idea. Catfish stories are awesome. If I hadn't been a little drunk and so distracted by my thoughts, I would have acted differently. Probably not have gone along the lake at night, which I only did when I was drunk. Thinking back now, I am so thankful this happened on a night I wasn't wasted to the point I could barely talk, which was not a rare occurrence in my teens. As I was about to turn right, going away from the lake, I noticed a young-looking man sitting on the bench before the path separates. He had what seemed like a longboard beside him on the ground, and I immediately thought he was rolling a joint, the way he was positioned and staring at his hands. He was wearing a hood over his head, but I could make out a pair of glasses as they reflected the light of my bicycle as I passed him. I immediately had the feeling that something was wrong with him. I now blame my good mood and slight drunkenness for thinking about turning back and asking him if he was all right, which is why I became slower and slower as I was about to take off my headphones. I suddenly got hit by something very hard right on the back of my neck, bottom of the back of my head. Next thing I know, I'm sitting on the ground and can't see anything. The impact had caused me to go blind temporarily. Then I felt myself being ripped off the ground by my hair. I held on to them, trying to ease the extreme pain on my scalp. And then I began screaming. I screamed as loud as I You're fraternal twins, but looks very similar anyways. That's kind of cool. Unavoidable. It's funny, yeah, my one assistant pastor, he has 2 twins and they look nothing alike, but it's just really cute because, I don't know, just the fact that they're like polar opposites. Impact. I go blind. The impact had caused me to go blind temporarily, and then I felt myself being ripped off the ground by my hair, and I held on to them, trying to ease the extreme pain in my scalp. And then I began screaming. I screamed as loud as I possibly could, as I had learned that this was the only way that most robbers and killers would get lost, out of fear of somebody coming for help. So, I'm being dragged by my hair and screaming so loud I thought my ears would bleed. I then felt something holding his hand over my mouth. Oops. I then felt someone holding their hand over my mouth, trying to get me to shut up. I didn't ever stop screaming, not even when he tried to choke me by pulling on the collar of my jacket. I remember thinking that this is the end. This is how I'm gonna die. Out of nowhere, I realized that I can hurt him too. Somehow I managed to turn myself so I was facing him now, all the while he's still grabbing my hair. Then I kicked. Just anywhere, really. I kicked and kicked. I could feel the bottom of my foot colliding with something hard. As I was able to slowly see again, I made out a figure holding my bicycle above me and was preparing for the impact. Next thing I know, I was on my feet, still screaming, but by now yelling help as well, running towards a female voice. A small woman was standing not too far away and asked me what was wrong and told me to come inside with her. As she led me to a gate, I could make out a male figure on the other side and immediately started to panic, somehow thinking that that must be the same guy and they work together. But as she reassured me that was only her husband, and I realized he was also much older and not so slim, I went into their house, where they called the cops. After I had told her everything as well as I could in the state that I was in, I fell into a much worse state of total panic attack for several hours, so she had to tell the policemen what had happened. I heard them say they found a pair of broken glasses on the path, but the guy was nowhere to be seen. I had dealt with the police in my town before, and since they hadn't believed me after a friend and I had been drugged and abused a few years ago, this just made my panic worse and worse, as I thought no one would believe me now, too. My parents had to come and pick me up. I stayed in this horrible state of panic for another 2 hours before I could go to bed, only to fall right back into when my mother opened the window and I could feel him standing right behind me. I screamed and cried, and after some time I did finally calm down. The next day my mother combed my hair and she pulled out whole strands of them. I did go on the trip with my friends, thinking it would be better than staying so close to where this all took place and being swallowed by fear. I still believe it was better to NB Canada, number 57, with the 14 maple syrup doll hair, says, wow, almost 523,000 subs. That's awesome, man. Congrats. Keep up the amazing work. You'll be a 1 million sooner than later. Hey, we're almost halfway to Friday, eh? My Canadian blood coming out. Eh? It's true, yeah. Is it hump day? No, it's Tuesday. We're almost there. Humpity dumpity bump day. You guys celebrate hump day in Canada? But thank you, NB Canada, for the 14 buckarones. That will power me through the last little paragraph here. I feel like sometimes I get on a nice roll and then suddenly I sound like I'm half drunk or something. Victor, you're currently typing out some creepy Let's Not Meet experiences while listening to this. Hope to submit them all later this week. Alright. Yeah, be sure to do it on that on the subreddit there and get some upvotes. I still believe it was the better decision. I could never stay alone with the guy I don't really know, as he was also wearing glasses and was about the same build as the scumbag who attacked me. After going to the police and making a statement, I have been told that they most likely will not find him. But they did have his DNA since they had found the glasses. So, if he ever did something like this or any kind of crime again and would be caught, he would be charged for this assault as well. I just really hope that I, nor any other person, ever encounter this guy again. Do it in the Chills voice. I could. But we must pay respects to our good friend Dylan. He is an angel upon this earth, blessing us with his lovely tones. Frickin' scumbags. Aylin, no worries. You are just in time for story 2 of 10. We are banging. We're just banging. This whole chat room's just banging right now. Write them stories down. Alright, which game is... This one's real short, but I guess it got voted. So, we'll take a peek. You can let me know whether to keep it or not. So I have short-term memory loss issues, which can be annoying to say the least. Admittedly, there's been times where it bordered on dangerous. Just now I was driving through the back roads that runs... Oh, sorry. My roommate is opening the, garage door, so I just had to wait for that to pass. This too shall pass. My voice makes you want to eat mac and cheese. It's definitely a trigger, for sure, for the mac and cheese. Yeah, sometimes after I get done with the stream, I always just like want to eat really badly. I don't know why. It's like a little celebration of completing something, but I must be strong. I must be disciplined. Lee Anderson got work in the morning, but it is morning already, so technically you don't need sleep when, you know, it's impossible to. Just now, I was just driving through the back road that runs through the woods dividing my best friend's house and mine. It's one I've driven about 1,000,000 times as we've been friends for years. Most nights I find the drive rather relaxing. The occasional deer, moose, or even bear might startle me along the way. That's something I've grown used to. After all, these woods are practically in my backyard. I was maybe a mile into my drive home when suddenly, in what felt like a blink of an eye, I was flooded with absolute dread. I don't remember why. It was as if though I had woken up from a nightmare, and even though the memory was gone in an instant, something about it still lingered, and the feeling of sickening panic had yet to fade away. I'm home now, and still I feel creeped out. Clearly my body remembers something I don't. I don't scare easily. I'm a witch and an avid horror fanatic. At any given time, you can find me delving into something that gives the average person the creeps. Scary is kind of my thing. At least, scary is usually my thing. Right now, I'd do anything to get this paranoia to subside. I've locked my doors and windows and gone all out in terms of paranormal protection, but it's hard to know how to protect yourself when you can't remember what you're so scared of. Maybe she saw her own reflection and seen a witch. Oh, a witch. Oh, it's just me. Halen eating for two, same here, me and my stomach. Me and my dummy thick booty. Oh, bother. I'm so stuffed. I'm dummy thick. One clap of my ass cheeks alerts the bees. You're eating a chicken embryo, that's good. Is it a fully formed one? A few months ago, I started working the breakfast shift. This means that every time I work this shift, I'm the only person in the department for a minimum of an hour. So there's no one to interfere with or debunk what I'm experiencing, and the only way into the rest of the hospital is through a door that is locked from my side. And the person comes... and the person that comes in after me opens that door when they get in. Aside from the usual unexplained noises here and there, distorted sense of time and sometimes reality, items moving from one end of the kitchen to the other or disappearing altogether just to appear elsewhere, there is something that happens almost every time I work. To explain this, I need to give a small bit of background. The door from the outside opens right into a locker room, and within that locker room is a door that leads to a storage room. There is only one key to the storage room. This detail will be important later. Every morning I use the key to open the storage room, and when I do, the keys get stuck in the lock. This never happened when I unlocked the door while I was training for the position with a coworker. When the key gets stuck, the lockers on the other side of the room begin to rattle, and I am stuck wrestling with the key for several minutes until eventually it relents. This happens every morning without fail. However, when one of my coworkers came in this morning, they went to go into the storage room, only for it to be locked. This door does not lock from the inside, and I still had the key from when I unlocked it 2 hours earlier. When I unlocked the door for the second time, it did not get stuck. I'm assuming because I was not alone. Another thing that happened this morning, I had to bake off pre-proportioned scones that were marked but frozen together. I used my key to gently bang them against the table in an effort to separate them. This made a very rhythmic bang sound that rang through. Shite. Filled up with spit in my mouth, sorry. Venikins with the 2 says, lube those lips and butter those socks, good sir. Oh yeah. I can do that right now, actually. It will help me power through this third story. Loobity doobity. Dabbity a. Well, you know what I did for you guys that I was really hoping would help was, so, not a lot of people pick up on this, but I kind of pick up on it in the sense like my background audio, or the audio that I put out, is I would say at least like 2/3 in my mind close to the same audio quality that you might hear in a normal recording. And it's been a painful process trying to find the appropriate plugins and, you know, the appropriate microphone and all, because basically I want a microphone that kind of connects like a headset, so I'm able to kind of like freely roam around, you know, my desk space here that's like a stand-up desk. And then I can kind of like talk to you guys and kind of move around freely without having to worry about being too close to the microphone, which can kind of be uncomfortable because I have to, like, you know, crane my neck into you guys and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, but then also on top of that is finding the appropriate settings in your streaming service, which I use Streamlabs OBS, to then, you know, remove the background noise and make sure that it's not too loud, or all this like little really generic technical stuff that you would imagine after these programs being around for like so long, they would have some sort of software that just works like a charm. So, on Discord, if you've ever used Discord and communicated in the chat, you may actually notice that your people's certain chat qualities or the way they sound is actually pretty solid compared to maybe other programs. But yeah, let me turn up this background noise a little bit. Now they use what's called Opus Audio Codec, which is some sort of codec that is implemented in their program that then like basically equalizes everything, gets rid of background noise and all that kind of good stuff, and makes it sound really crisp and nice, or at least to the best that it can. And I'm just so confused. Sorry, this has been a long waste of breath that I'm using right now, but I've just been so confused that OBS does not have something to in turn make my audio quality like essentially perfect, or at least to the extent that I want it, because I had to get all these extra plugins and all this kind of stuff and go jump through all these hoops to like remove background noise and that kind of thing. And I don't know, it's just it's a big yeah, audiophile issues are for real frustrating, and it's so strange to me that, and when I messaged Discord, when I tweeted them or DM'd them on Twitter, they responded and said, sorry, the Opus codec only works on their program, can't be used externally. And then when I messaged them over there, like I sent 2 messages, one to their like tickets, support center, they're like, yeah, codec, Opus codec is a free open source program that you can implement into anything. And I was like, okay, that's 2 conflicting messages, but I'm trying to figure out exactly how to implement Opus codec. So if anybody out there who finds themselves to be kind of an audiophile or technical geek of sorts and wants to DM me exactly how to implement Opus into streaming, I would be infinitely grateful and probably give you a reward of 1 old butter sock, or something else. So yeah, if you guys are into that, desire a challenge, let me know. Okay, moving on. We're almost done with this story. This made a very rhythmic bang sound that rang through the kitchen with a distinct pattern. I turned to put the box back in the freezer when the very heavy steel door that was completely open before swung shut behind me. It took some muscle to get the door open again, but that could have been the result of me not having been caffeinated, and it was 4:30 in the morning, so I could have been weak. When I broke free, the exact same pattern of banging sounds that I had been making to break apart the scones sounded like it was coming from the other end of the kitchen about 70 feet away. I called out, thinking maybe the bread delivery had come early, and walked over when I received no response, and no one was there. I am not the only person who has experiences like this, and I was actually briefed before working on an open shift alone to things I may experience by someone who is very serious and a religious person who has been working there for over 30 years. Bearing in mind his warning and experiences he has shared with me, I believe something may be taunting me, as my experiences have been more apparent and confrontational. Am I overreacting? Or should I be worried? Let's Read has facial tattoos and all. I essentially look like Tekashi 6ix9ine, but way less in jail. Not only is my hair rainbow, but my armpit hair is rainbow, and my pubes. Sorry, just kidding. Mr. X Streams, welcome. Good to see you. Guys, if you haven't listened to Mr. X Streams, be sure to head over there. He does streams as well for his videos for narration. Incredibly talented, and I, once in a while, will feature him when I'm gone. When I'm gone, I'll just generally be gone and not here. I won't be here anymore. My armpit hair is... It's a sight to see. It likes to just like kind of slowly crawl out, climb up to my like hair curls, and just implement itself there. So then when I walk, I get real tight because it's pulling on my head like Velcro. Alfonso Nadal with the $1 Rooney. Thank you. Does the carpet match the carpet? Does the carpet... what was that one movie? It's like, does the carpet match the pubes? It was funny. My all-time favorite stories that I've narrated? I don't think so. I do miss narrating more creepypastas. because they tended to stick with me, I feel like. Candigo says, are you a blood like Takashi too? No, I certainly do have blood in my body. I don't know if that counts. Dripping. Does the drapes match the chandeliers? Here is an unsettling experience. Okay. Javier Reyes with the $5 says, hey, let's read. Great to be here. Tomorrow is my friend Rachel's 25th birthday. Can you please say, Rachel, here it comes. Thanks, haha. Well, Rachel, here it comes. You are 25. You are living the life that you want to be living. We're here for you. Javier's here for you. And here's to 4 more 25. Here's to 100 more years. What do you say? Yeah, Mr. Extremes, thank you. If you find anything about Opus, that would be sweet. I think, yeah, we could definitely both benefit from that. I even bought, like, this one... I forgot. And I really didn't want to buy it just because I felt like if only I could just find the appropriate, you know, sort of behind-the-scenes technical program, which most likely would be free, because it's like, you have something like Audacity, and it can remove background noise almost flawlessly, so I'm just like, why can't that exist in a live stream scenario, or something that, you know, and obviously it can, if it can exist within, you know, Discord and all that stuff. So if you were able to find anything, I really, really appreciate that, my friend. And he donated as well. Mr. Extremes with a 2 says, this was free, so I might as well leave it here. Well, thank you, Mr. Extremes. I appreciate that. I do always forget, for anybody who has YouTube Premium, they can donate $2 without repercussion. Or for free, rather. Free! Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I worked as a maintenance custodial individual for a school and a church. They were located on the same campus with the chapel, offices, kitchen, and multi-purpose room for dinners, events, etc. This was also a brand new school, and the building connected to the school with an area which one set of steps to the gym and another set of steps downstairs, which was the cafeteria for the school. The cafeteria had a kitchen, and outside the cafeteria was a hallway which went around, as there were doorways to other rooms, locker rooms, bathrooms, and another stairway that had a pop machine next to it, which led upstairs. This will be important to the story a little bit later. As you went up the stairs, on the other side there was an area outside of the gym, a foyer one way, led outside, and the other to a ramp leading to the school. Both entryways to the gym had lockable gates to secure specific portions of the building. I was working second shift at the school, and sometimes the shift went into midnight and beyond. It wasn't uncommon for teachers to come in and out throughout my shift, no matter how late, to get their prep done for the following school day. One evening, I was coming off the elevator into the main hallway to take out my trash, which was bookended with doors which led to a stairwell on each side, as well as doors to the outside. As I stepped off the elevator, I heard the outside door, of St. Geob the Eradicator with the $2 says, I've watched probably 5 of your videos at work today. That's awesome. I'm glad you're getting in a solid binge. I hope work's going well for you. I'm glad. It's always nice to hear that there's works that allow the listening of content, because my old job was not a fan of us being happy at all. So, as I stepped off the elevator, I heard the outside door of the stairwell close. I went to take my trash out from the hall door to the stairwell and to the door which led outside. I was in the stairwell and heard someone running up the stairs. I didn't think too much of it because, like I stated earlier, This was not uncommon for teachers to come in late. It wasn't until I got outside and dumped my trash bag into the dumpster that I realized the stairwell light had been off and that there were no cars in the parking lot. Immediately, I got chills and my skin reacted with goosebumps. It did cross my mind that maybe someone got dropped off, but thought that that would be a strange thing for someone to do at midnight. I went inside and searched the 4-floor building inside and out, and no one was in the building. My heart had been beating hard the entire time, and I was truly creeped out the rest of my shift, and that unsettling feeling followed me home. Fast forward 2 weeks later, and I was doing my nightly rounds of checking doors, gates, making sure everything was secure before I left for the night. This particular night, I was downstairs by the cafeteria and ready to go upstairs on the other side, when I heard the cafeteria's kitchen door slam. Now, I know it was the kitchen door because when you work at a place long enough, you tend to know the sounds everything makes. I froze in my tracks and got chills. I said hello and didn't hear anything, but also didn't want to stick around long enough as the events of 2 weeks before were still somewhat fresh in my head. I was pretty scared at that moment, ran upstairs, locked the other gate, and ended my night. Alfonso Noda with the 2 buccarones says, "We'll like to hear self-defense stories or military." Oh yeah, that would be sweet. Self-defense would be good. Oh yes, thank you, Mr. Extremes. I should, you know what, Mr. Extremes, if you get, I'm just gonna, since you are a trusted member of the Let's Read Buttersock cult, I'm going to put you in timeout. Just kidding, I'm gonna make you a moderator. Not that everybody's obviously having a good time here, but I think you more than deserve such an honor here. But yeah, self-defense stories would be cool. People karate chopping necks. Chopping heads off with a single swipe. With a single swipe right. And Dr. Satan, you wish you could tip 2 cents at a time. That would be ideal. A lot of paranormal stories here. As I saw my sister's doppelgang hair. Dr. Satan with the 2 doll hairs. With the 2 cents. The 102-cent donations. Thank you, Dr. Satan. Oh, so Dr. Satan is a reference to House of a Thousand Corpses, if you all recall. And, great movie, in my opinion, just because it's so whacked, you know. And then the whole last ending is just so insane. It's awesome. But in it, Dwight from The Office, Dwight Schrute, is one of the main characters at the beginning. And you know, this movie's been around for a while, so not to spoil it. Basically, at one point, Dwight becomes, like, they kill him and then turn his body into a taxidermied, like, half man, half mermaid. And it's pretty funny, because, you know, you're just like, Jesus Christ, Dwight got turned into a mermaid. Now, in The Office, in the latter seasons, Andy has, like, a bobblehead on his desk that, whenever he gets kicked out as manager, Dwight takes that bobblehead and puts it on his desk, and Andy asks him what he has that for, and he's like, well, that is my, you know, Mr. So-and-so, or whatever, who is half man, half mermaid, and he fights crime as a man and makes sweet love as a mermaid. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, did he just make like a little bit of a homage joke to, you know, a little nod towards House of a Thousand Corpses? And as I felt very special to piece that puzzle together in my head so many years later. controversial opinion. I usually prefer the non-paranormal stories. It's not like I can't accept ghosts or whatever, and it's just that a lot of para stories are scary, unexplained noises, so I left. Yeah, no, that is true. Sometimes the paranormal stories can be a bit of a letdown, but when you get a good one, you certainly get a good one. But it seems like a lot of subscribers do submit paranormal stuff. I wish that there was a certain standard that they would hold themselves to for some of the stories, but I guess that's kind of how the upvoting system works on the subreddit, so that you get some pretty solid ones. But so be sure to join the subreddit so you can upvote and downvote the ones that you're not really into, and yeah. Samantha, if I were a Tim Burton movie, which one would I be? Probably Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber, because I just love making meat pies. Serving them up. This story happened when I was 17 years old. It was 2 a.m. during a 4th of July. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling thirsty, so I decided to go to the kitchen and get a glass of water. But before I did, my room was pretty dark, so you could barely see anything. I was too lazy to turn the lights on, so I walked in the dark instead. I go into the kitchen. When I turn the lights on, I see my sister standing there facing the window. I was a bit confused. I mean, why would anyone just stand there staring at the window in the middle of the night? Unless something was going on, but there was no sign of anything really going on. At first I laughed about it, but then I got annoyed by it, so I told my sister. Hey. Hello? Dasha? Dude, answer me, man. Stop being weird. Go to sleep. We have to wake up early in the morning and help out with the flood. It's freaking 2:30 a.m. or something right now. Go to sleep. Still wasn't getting any response. Look. Whatever, man. I don't want to hear you complaining in the morning about not getting enough sleep. I got my glass of water, went upstairs to my room, shut the door, and went back to bed. I forgot to mention, my sister and I share rooms, and we have our own separate beds, so when I heard my sister's bed move, my eyes were wide open. When I slowly turned around to see my sister sleeping in her bed this whole time, it got me to the point of panic. I said, whispering, "What the? How? If I literally saw her in the kitchen like a minute ago." I didn't want to wake my sister up and tell her because she's a very paranoid person and gets scared really fast. Later that morning at around 11 a.m., me and my sister were up helping my mom cook and decorate the backyard. I thought of telling my sister right there at that moment what had happened earlier that night, but like I mentioned, my sister gets paranoid and pretty scared quickly, so I decided not to tell her and just ignore it. Later that evening, my sister and I were playing games on the PlayStation in the living room. My mom came and told us that they were going to start lighting up the fireworks. Since I love watching them, I asked my sister, "Hey, do you want to come with me outside and watch?" "Nah, you can go. I still want to keep playing." So I ended up going. An hour passed, it got dark, we were still lighting up fireworks, until I got a feeling of someone watching me. I looked across the street to see my sister standing there looking at me, and I turned around to see if anyone else had saw her, but right after I turned back to look at her, she wasn't there anymore. I began to freak out. I ran back into the house to see my sister still playing on the PlayStation. I was so freaked out and frustrated, so I had no other reason but to tell my sister. I asked to speak with her urgently. I took her to the room and said, "Look, I don't want to creep you out or anything, but earlier today, in the morning, around 2 a.m., I thought I had saw you in the kitchen, standing there, staring outside the window. I calling you, but you weren't responding back. I went to get a glass of water, and when I went back to the room, I heard your bed move. I turned around to see you sleeping there, even though I just saw you like seconds ago. In the kitchen. And I saw you again outside across the street. I'm really scared. Ashley? Yeah? The exact same thing happened to me. Instead, this time, I saw another you. I had the fastest heartbeat ever. My butt... Oh, fuck. Damn, I had a good fucking, rip there for a little bit, and I lost it. Will Sharp with the 2 says hello. Hello, Will. Welcome to the party. The apartheid. You were at a fort that was part of War of 1812 for a school trip, and you thought you saw a man in a soldier costume. He walked into another room, but when you went in there, he was gone. That's the story. That's a good story. Tyler, you're asking, you narrated the 2-sentence horror stories. I did for the first part, and the second part, actually, Mr. X was involved in that as well as a few others. I had the fastest heartbeat ever. My blood felt so cold running through my body. Are you kidding me? I'm being serious. Dude, I'm not messing with you. I'm serious too. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to scare you, but the other night I was up and when I looked outside the window, I thought I had seen you, but you were sleeping right next to me the whole time. I knew then right away it couldn't be anything other than one of those doppelgangers. What? A doppelganger. Someone who looks very identical to you. After that conversation with my sister, I haven't felt the same. Especially what happened that night after the 4th of July. I pulled an all-nighter, but everyone in my social media was asleep, so I gave up and went to bed. I like my windows open during the summer since it gets really hot, but still didn't feel safe having the window open, so I got up to close it. My heart was beating so fast when I looked outside the window. I saw my sister's doppelganger standing outside, and right next to her was mine, both directly staring at me through the window. It's been over a year now since it happened. I really do hope to never see them in my life again. Bong, 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 bong. Creepmaster GM Danielson, you better join my live stream shortly. We certainly can do that. Did you change your YouTube channel name to Creepmaster? Because that's pretty... You should just do straight Creepmaster. Samantha, we do need onesies and blankets. If you could provide that for all 300 of us, that would be fantastic. Also, if all 300 of you could click that like button, we can tell more people about this stram. Alright, this story should actually be pretty solid, I think. It's called The Ugly Side of the Evangelical Church. Good evening, Mr. GM Dannison. We have another narrator here. The great GM. He's very talented in reading many of the classics. I don't know if you've been branching into different content as of lately. Creepmaster GM Danielson says, yeah, what microphone do you use? Are you talking to me or one of the other gentlemen? I use for recording the H4n and then do some, afterwards I take out the background noise and stuff like that in Audacity. But as far as for the stream, I'm using a $20 lavalier mic hooked up to my headset. Uh-oh. I'm gonna trigger GM with this story. But I was telling Mr. X, like, I really need to find some good plugins and stuff to help just like really optimize everything so it sounds as quality as like a Discord server where how they use the Opus codec, audio codec. So If you're into that, apparently that's free and open source. If you figure anything out with it, be sure to let me know, because I am down to get down with that. I was born, baptized, and raised in a very common lifestyle in my area, the evangelical church. The church classifies themselves as non-denominational Christians, which implies that they are of their own identified branch. You see, most of what this church really is all about is only something you pick up on if you grew up as a skeptic. Thank God I grew up always asking questions about different things, God being one of them. My dad told me the most important thing was my personal relationship with God and to take most of what I heard and apply it how I can. My childhood was mostly innocent until I was 10, and I'm going to go into how my friends in church was before going into my home church. Now her church was... wait, what? Why is it her church? My childhood was mostly innocent until I was 10, and I'm going to go into how my friend's church... oh, okay. My childhood was mostly innocent until I was 10, and I'm going to go into how my friend's church was before going into my home church. Now her church was on the extreme end of the spectrum of the evangelical religion. Their Sunday school classes were filled with worship that was sometimes a rock concert, and other times they were more lyrical and had the kids do dances to the music. I wasn't a fan of either of these worship services because, 1, the rock concerts were too loud, and 2, the dance moves didn't make me feel closer to God and we looked silly and unhappy. We were told to obey your mom and dad, or God will be disappointed in you. You must do everything your parents want to do, even if it's wrong. From a very young age, I was fed messages of, if you don't do this, something bad will happen to you. And if you do this, you are a sinner and weak in the eyes of God. My strength was put to the test at the age of 9 when my mother went crazy, kidnapped me, and showed me what being homeless and on drugs looked like. She never showed me the drugs, but she did partake. When my dad rescued me a year later, the people in his church rejoiced and welcomed me in with open arms. This church saved my dad after the divorce of my parents, and he saw saving me from my mother was an act of the church's faithfulness to God. God brought me back, not the police who came looking for the missing girl my mom kidnapped as well. With that sad shit. Ashley would join the Let's Read church where we eat butter and maple syrup and pray to Daddy Reed. Pray that Daddy reads the next story without a single mistake. And if you acknowledge his mistakes, he will smite you. He will smite you with a vat of butter. With that said, I grew up as a skeptic of organized religions. In my teenage years, I had asked a lot of questions about God's intentions. I asked why God gave my mother mental illnesses, and I was told to pray about it by the congregation. And sometimes God just gives people hard cards to see if they can handle spreading his word by my dad. My pastor told me I couldn't read Harry Potter because the spells they used were real. Yes, that was a real thing, and I missed out on a huge chunk of growing up in the 2000s because of it. I can't enjoy the series, and it makes me sad. I read the first 4 anyway until I got caught and was told to never read them again because it was a sin. Speaking of sin, do y'all remember purity rings? Well, the purity culture is really too. Oh. Speaking of sin, do you all remember purity rings? Well, the purity culture is real too. If you want to prove your worth and commitment to God, then you must wear a purity ring and pledge not to have sex before marriage. I wore one until I lost my virginity pre-marriage. It felt so good to throw that thing into the lake. Purity culture was a way of showing girls to be submissive, committed, and would die for their husband by being pure for their wedding night. We were fed lies about birth control, condoms, and sex in general. We were told that what we learned in health class was a lie, and to only listen to what they had to say. They told us that it would be painful if it was before marriage because God knows what the young woman is about to do. The child of any parent in the inner circle disobeyed God in any way, they must repent to the pastor and be prayed over by the congregation in order to be saved. The inner circle is a group of individuals in the following rank: pastor, youth pastor, greeters, people who greet, mingle, and introduce newcomers to the church. Not commoners, shite. Comers. Newcomers. People who greet, mingle, and introduce newcomers to the church. Youth leaders, pastor's close friends, and Sunday school teachers. Everyone else are sheep. The ranks are unspoken, and throughout my teenage years, my parents were just on the cusp of being part of the inner circle. But since I was a rowdy teenager and sinned left and right, they were unable to be fully a part of it. I was fed lies that I was being a bad girl so that I would stop experiencing mental illnesses that I could not control. I used to self-harm because the pain felt good, but my parents told me I was just searching for attention. My eating disorder was said to be a demon possessing my body, and that's a story for another day. I want to warn you about the church because of all Foursquare churches are a part of the... Foursquare? What's a Foursquare? The streets will run red with cashy comers. These comers are here. I see you're a newcomer. I want to warn you about the church because all Foursquare churches are a part of this. They say they're non-denominational, but it's a cover for something more sinister. They brainwash their congregation into being perfect citizens or God will make their life miserable. If any of you believe that, it's not true. God loves those who he loves. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Probably not the best time to swear. God loves those who love him, and he is a loving, forgiving God. If you sin, he will forgive. He gets that we're human. He made us. If you believe in God, just remember that, and I promise you'll be safe. For those of you who might be wondering, I am a very spiritual person. However, I take pieces from all religions and apply them to my life. I do not despise the evangelical church, nor Christianity in general. I am simply writing this as a warning to stay away from these deceptive people because they don't even realize they are deceiving you. The part I feel is the scariest part of all. Wow. Miss Molly with the $5 says, hello, my dear. How are you doing? Loves you. Thank you, Miss Molly. Appreciate that. For the 5 spot. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We are rocking and rolling. That was actually story 6 of 10. So we are over the hill of spooky subscriber stories. If you have not submitted your spooky subscriber story yet, be sure to submit that to reddit.com/letsreadofficial. Having children is hereditary. If your parents have none, you will not either. That is a very astute observation. We shall purge your family line with Mr. Clean chemicals for Let's Read. Oh no. Yeah, Kashi. Wait, Kashi, did you just get here as in you were notified, or like, because yeah, that we're on story 6? Because I'm not really sure. I feel like YouTube doesn't tell freaking anybody anymore. Oh man, this is a lot of paranormal stories. And that's not bad, it's just, I know that a lot of people are not huge fans of them, so it's like, I don't want people starting to associate the subscriber stories with, like, strictly those, and not be, like, as inclined to watch it or something like that. We must purge the heretics with the clean. Liz, yeah, thank you for making it to a stream. Yeah, I'm gonna start a new cleaning supply review channel called Let's Clean. Can I clean up these bloodstains? Nat, thank you for the 1 buckaroonie. This one's called My Cat Who Shared My Room. My Black Cat Who Shared My Room. I moved to my childhood home with my parents when I was 18 months old. Understandably, I do not remember living anywhere before this. Our house was built on the site of an old forge. It gave the name to our small bit of road. As long as I can remember, I shared a room with a black cat. He was an entity that... Oh, shoot. I think I read this already. I'm fairly certain I read this already. Oh, wow. We have 2 new members. Miss Bellatrixa, welcome back, Miss Bellatrixa, and welcome to being a member of the Let's Read Buttersock cult, as well as welcome Dr. Satan to the Buttersock cult. That's amazing. The membership thing must just like now be popping up more often because we've had, you guys are 3 individuals have become members of the Buttersock cult. Come on now. Okay. Miss Bellatrix, also thank you for the 2, because I've been seeing ghosts ever since I can remember. Oh, really? Well, you'll have to write down some of those experiences, because I would like to hear them. I've always been perplexed by people who can see ghosts, because I feel like that would be torturous to my mind. Alright, so normally... yeah, normally I can, like... I guess this is old, so I can't change anything here, but we'll just grab another story. I'm going to get rid of this story here, because I do believe that I had already read it. It's like a guardian cat type thing. Guardian cat. Wow, look at the... What the heck? Guys, you guys are amazing. We got new member in Delicious Lee. Thank you, Delicious, for joining, and a new member in Blue Rooster. Dude, we've started... we have started an avalanche here, and we're moving. Axeman is here. He says he only sees ghost wangs, just floating wangs everywhere, just different sizes, all of them making you jealous. The cult is forming. We are finally forming. Our numbers are growing. Alright guys, we're gonna find another story. I'm gonna sort by top on. You guys will have to tell me which one you would like to see. Which one you want to hear read. So we'll sort by the past week. Stepsister Stalker, that sounds... What do you think? We got Stepsister Stalker, What Just Happened, Almost Kidnapped, The Danger Next Door, and The Children in the Mirror. I'm kind of leaning towards Stepsister Stalker or Almost Kidnapped, but it seems as if though Stepsister Stalker has the most, the mostest. Let's read, do you remember Apex Falcon? I don't think I do. Is that a human? Or a video game? Haunted Wangs is such a mood. Okay. Let's rock and roll on to the next one. We read the Evangelical Church one. Okay, The Unwanted Housemate. That'll be our next one that we narrate here. At the time of this event, I was 18, living in a large house in a wealthy area of England. It was the Easter holidays and my parents were away in France, leaving me at home to study for my upcoming exams. I had always enjoyed having the house to myself and was looking forward to being able to cook whatever, watch movies, and study in peace. I had little reason to be fearful as our house was big, modern, and separated from the local village by a very long driveway. I really enjoyed the week. I would eat instant noodles and revise during the day, go out with friends, and then watch Netflix till late in the night. We'd had a lot of thunderstorms around this time, and the heavy rain and wind would set off the burglary alarms. See what I mean? Wait, see what I mean? Featuring Riley Reid, a new upcoming star. Burglary. I had little to be okay. Eating noodles. We'd had a lot of thunderstorms around this time, and the heavy rain and wind would set off the burglary alarms, much to my annoyance. I never thought anything of it and would dismiss my alarm going off as wind, so I'd sleepily turn it off. On Saturday afternoon, a sound startled me from my revision. It sounded like something had hit one of my upstairs windows. I turned off my music and listened, thinking I must have imagined it, so I turned my music back on. 5 minutes later, there was another noise coming from upstairs. It sounded like something had been knocked over. This time I jumped up, heart thumping and racking my head for a plausible explanation, but this time one wouldn't come. I sat frozen for a minute before remembering that I could access the home CCTV imaging from the family computer. I checked the last hour and there was nothing, so I instantly relaxed and laughed at myself for being so scared. Little did I know my jumpy instincts were about to save me. I started cooking dinner. The kitchen faces a set of glass doors on the far side of the room, and it was now nighttime, so the glass reflects the light of the room and attached hallway. I'm in the middle of serving up the food when I glance up to see not only my reflection, but one of a man standing in the hallway. He was short and scruffy and had something I could not make out in his hand. He was staring at me through the reflection, motionless. My body went into flight mode. I ran across the kitchen to the back door and flung myself through it, running terrified down my road. Fortunately, I had my phone on me and called the police. I didn't see the man emerge from the house as I hid behind a bush in the driveway. Everything felt like a blur as the cops, sorry. Let's read a secretly Mr. Clean. I should just shave my head. I'm balding anyways. Just do it all. Do away with it all. Everything felt like a blur as the cops checked the house. They found nothing, and I started to wonder whether I just imagined it. It wasn't until an hour later that I found out the information that would haunt me for the rest of my life. The police checked the CCTV and found the footage of the man entering the house. He entered on Thursday night, 2 days before this incident happened. The unwanted housemate was soon found after and identified as a local homeless person. The incident was expected to be a burglary gone wrong. He was sentenced and is no longer a threat. However, I will never be comfortable being home alone again. Arise, chicken, rise! Your burglar alarm is going off as well for a 6 bacon slice hamburger and quadruple cognac. Oh my god. That. I don't think I could ever drink like alcohol with a burger, or especially liquor. That would be the worst thing of all time. It's not a great compliment. It's not a great compliment. Taste-wise. Stepsister. Don't yawn, does it put you to sleep? Fortnite. We love Fortnite! We love Fortnite! We love Fortnite! We love Fortnite. I actually want to watch that video real quick. Just makes me laugh a lot. You guys are just going to get the audio, but it's absolutely worth your time. We love Fortnite. Wonder how loud this will be.
Fuck you, whore! We like Fortnite! 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 Fuck you, whore! We like Fortnite! 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 We fucking love Fortnite!
Alright. Just had to get that out of my system real quick. It's by the real Fred Flintstone. Check him out. He seems to know what he's doing. Okay, anyways, this story's about a stepsister. Just a bit of background. Me and my sister are 3 years apart, and I have always felt like a protective older brother to her. We've been very close throughout our lives, so what she experienced annoyed me a great deal. So this was a few years ago, and our parents had recently split up, and my dad had found a new girlfriend. My mom had moved out and bought her own place, which left me, my sister, and my dad alone in the house. My dad has since moved out of there. I was 18 at the time, making my sister 15. Fast forward a few months to when I first met my dad's new girlfriend. She was nice, really quiet, but at the time I wasn't really bothered about forming a relationship with her. The woman wasn't the issue, however. She had two girls who, for the purposes of this story, we'll call Charlie and Rosie. Rosie was around 9 or 10 years old, and Charlie was around 13. Rosie was a little hyperactive, but was nice enough and quite intelligent for her age, but Rosie was never the issue. It was always Charlie. The first time I ever felt weird about Charlie was when my sister called me up one time. I was staying in my mom's house, and my sister was at my dad's. My sister sounded freaked out, which immediately put me on high alert. My sister was telling me that she had been spending the night with my dad, girlfriend, and the kids, and was getting weird vibes from Charlie the entire night. And then when it came to bedtime, Charlie insisted on sleeping in my sister's room. When my sister was getting ready for bed, however, my sister caught her going through her stuff, and of course told her off for it, but Charlie didn't seem ashamed or anything. Then, when it was lights out, my sister heard a weird sound in the darkness, coming from where Charlie was laying. My sister lay there, confused and a little creeped out, until Charlie got up and left the room to go to the toilet. My sister told me that Charlie's phone was on, and a picture of my sister and her friend was on the screen. My sister then told me that she was pretty sure that Charlie was touching herself over the picture. At this point, me and my sister already didn't like Charlie, but what happened next makes my skin crawl. So in our old house, our bathroom had a lockable door which could be unlocked from the other side as long as you had something like a coin or... Oops. Oh no, everything's flooded? Yeah, I heard some pretty terrible things happen in Ohio related to tornadoes. So in our old house, our bathroom had a lockable door which could be unlocked from the other side as long as you had something like a coin to turn the lock. But when we were all getting along, me and my sister must have showed the girls this. One day, we're all at my dad's and downstairs getting ready to go out for the day, and my sister had said that she was going for a shower. I was downstairs being an adult and trying my best to get to know my dad's girlfriend that I didn't even notice Charlie slip out of the room. Then about 10 minutes later, I get a call from my sister asking me to come upstairs. When I go up, my sister looks panicked, clutching a towel around her, still dripping from the shower. She begins to tell me that she heard knocking on the door to the bathroom. When she stopped the shower to ask who was there, no one responded. My sister says she finished her shower and, when she got out, heard running down the stairs. When she looked at the door, it had been opened. Charlie had been watching my sister shower. This absolutely sickened me and still does, but I can't even imagine how my sister felt. Thankfully, my dad and his girlfriend broke up, and we've never had to see Charlie and Rosie again. And that's probably the way we'd like to keep it. Venikins with a 5 says the thing you played sounded like goats screaming like humans. YouTube it. Oh yeah, I think I've definitely seen those videos. Yeah, his scream is right on that spectrum of screeching. Also, I have another video I want to share with you guys. It's very important to your lives, and if you don't hear it, you might pass away. This one's about Winnie the Pooh and him being dummy thick.
Oh, bother. I'm so stuffed with fluff, I'm dummy thick. And the clap of my ass cheeks alerted the bees.
That's it. I don't know why that brings me such grandeur, pleasure. The clap of my ass cheeks alerted the bees. The clap of my ass cheeks. Dummy thick. Alright, so... Did I miss? No, I didn't miss one. Miss Bellatrixa with the 10 buckaroni says, my brother once told my mum that my sister was drawing naked pictures of me. Lol, my mum believed him and took my sister's art book. Lol, he was only joking and I think I was 14 at the time. Oh boy. I wonder if she looked through the book to see if there were any nudie pics, and then at that point I guess it would have made sense to give it back. He was dummy thick. If you subscribe, you are dummy thick. Someone lurking in the night. So this story happened to me and my friend. We'll call her Anna. So this story happened to me and my friend. We'll call her Anna. About 7 months ago. In the town we live in, there's a popular bridge with train tracks underneath it where a lot of us will go smoke, drink, or just hang out. It was the summer, going into my senior year, and Anna and I were bored one Saturday night, as there isn't much to do where I live, so we decided to just go hang out at the bridge. Now, the way the bridge is set up, there are 2 ways to get in. The first way is you have to turn down a side street and park off to the side of the road on this small strip of gravel. Then you walk down the street a little way and then go behind the guardrails and down a steep slope of dirt and rocks to get to the tracks. You have to cross the train tracks and go to the side of where the bridge is to climb up the rocks. The second way to get in is through the other side. You just hop down off the street into a short trail that leads you down there. You don't have to cross the tracks or anything to get there. Anyways, Anna and I get to the bridge, and by now it's about 10:30 to 11 p.m., so it's pretty dark out. We didn't really think much about it, as we lived in a nice town and nothing really bad ever happened where we lived. So, we hopped out of the car, turned on our flashlights from our phones, and started to make our way down the slope, trying not to fall as we laughed and shouted a bit. We finally get down and climb up the rocks to get to where the couches and small fire pit were. I sat down against one of the pillars on one of the folding chairs while Anna sat on the couch. We were just talking, hitting our vape pens, and nothing was out of place. After about 20 minutes or so, I started to hear small noises, like something or someone moving around in the woods behind, or more like next to the tracks. I then had the strongest feeling that we were being watched. I kept looking behind me, trying to see if I could see anyone, but it was no use. It was so dark that I couldn't see my own hand in front of me. I think that she started to get the same feeling that I had as we both just made eye contact and gave each other that "I feel it too" look. Anna then asked me, "What are you doing?" and tried to put my arm down. I told her to be quiet as I shone my flashlight in the direction I thought we were being watched from. She started to quietly panic, and I told her to act calm. We tried to just tell ourselves that we were being paranoid. The flashlight didn't shine that far, and we couldn't see anyone in the area that the light did cover. The noises started happening more frequently, which made us panic even more. We started to discuss the situation. If there was someone there, where would they be hiding? How long had they been there? Were there more than one of them? Anna then got the stupid idea to shout, "Hello, is anyone there? We're chill, you don't have to hide." We sat in silence for 5 minutes as nothing happened and the noises stopped. It was dead silent. Then all of a sudden, an empty plastic water bottle was thrown in our direction. We could see where it landed only a few feet from us. We were scared absolutely out of our minds. Now we knew that someone had been there watching us. Anna said we needed to get out of there, but we were both too scared to move. Afraid that if we did, whoever was there would come out and attack us as we tried to climb down the rocks. We heard a twig snap and I nearly screamed. Anna decided that she was going to jump off the edge of the ledge we were sitting on. I grabbed her arm and said it's too high to jump off of. You can't even see all the way down to where the tracks are, and made her stay with me. By now, we had been there for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Had he just been watching there? Oops. Venikins with the 2 says, "I have thus been saved by the clap of that ass."
But it alerted the bees. Oh, bother. It scares me when you alert the bees.
It just makes me want to say "oh bother" all the time. Anytime something's a mild issue.
Oh, bother. Oh, bother, just think about the mailman coming up and the clap of his ass cheeks.
That'd be pretty funny if the voice of the clown from It was like just Winnie the Pooh's voice.
We all float.
Sorry.
We all float.
I can't do it. I can't do it without my voice cracking.
We all float down here, Georgie.
God damn it.
We all float down here, Georgie.
Had he just been there watching us the whole time? We calmed down and decided that when we count to 3, we were going to run across the rocks and book it across the tracks and back up the slope to the car. I counted. 1, 2, 3. When I said it, we ran as fast as we could, not looking back to see who was there. We made it back up the hill completely out of breath. We decided to walk over the bridge and see if we could hear anything. We stood on the bridge above the opposite side where we had been sitting before. We called down shouting, "Who's there? You better leave now," and a bunch of other things and a few obscenities that I won't repeat on here. We heard a scuffling and rocks moving directly under us. When we were running across earlier, he must have tried to chase us, and when we made it to the top, he just went to the other side of the tracks and climbed up those rocks. There was no way that he had been there the whole time, as he had thrown a water bottle at us earlier, and it would have been too far to throw it from the other side, and it came from a completely different direction. We got really freaked out, and started to leave, and then heard a train coming. I grabbed my friend's arm and said, "Wait, if we wait for the train, maybe we can see who was watching us." She agreed, and we slowly and cautiously walked back down to the slope as the train began to approach. The train lights were so bright, and at first we couldn't see anyone. Then I looked over to the pillars, and to my absolute horror, I see someone wearing a white and purple beanie with the blankest eyes I had ever seen peek around one of the pillars. He looked strung out and like he was on something. He saw me immediately and ducked back behind the pillar. I screamed as me and my friend turned to sprint back up to our car before the train passed so he couldn't follow us. We booked it out of there and have been back at night ever since. I still get freaked out that he had been watching us the whole time we were down there. And if he did manage to get us while we were running, what would he have done? I don't know, and I certainly don't want to find out. ASMR. ASMR. If that happened, I wouldn't wait for my friend to count down, I'd just book it, yeah. And they wanted to wait for the train. Hold on, wait for the train's lights so we can see the person that's coming to kill us. Read the next story like chills. I could, but it will take too long. We'll have to bring Jensen in here if he's available. Hounds of hell, hell, hell. You're screaming from the crack. Oh, oh, bother. Wait, oh, bother. I can't do it. Oh, bother. Oh, bother. Yeah, I really have to hit like a really strange, like high-pitched low note mixed together. Oh, bother. God. Oh, bother. Oh, bother. Do I sing? I don't sing. I mean, I try to sing, but I certainly have never done it to the point where people are like, wow, that was pleasurable in my ears. Do a thick Boston accent. Fucking Boston, freaking A. Norma's Jeans, welcome back with a $5 buckaroonie donato. Category 5 donato. Thank you. Not only that, but you would sound horribly bored and monotonic. Thank you for your very inspirational advice for my singing. You don't know that. You don't. Maybe I've got some sick ass range, bro. I could be the next. You know, the guy with the mustache who died. That guy. Freddie Merc. I did dress up like Freddie Mercury for Halloween one year. It was fantastic. Oh bother. Yo, do a Ukrainian accent, man. This experience makes me physically shake whenever I think about it. I was waiting at the interchange collection of bus stops, which had about 6 people already there at my stand. I had just finished a 7-hour day at college and desperately wanted to go home. It was 4:20-ish and the bus wouldn't arrive till 4:50. I didn't really pay a pence. I didn't pay a pence. Do a redneck voice. The gay icon, let's read. I'm the next country star. I'm gonna sing you. Oh, Chills' voice is bored and modest. Yeah, I don't know, like, why Chills talks like that, but I think that's his actual voice in real life, but hey, whatever gets you to meme status, you know what I mean? You need to see the Freddie Mercury costume. I'm actually wondering if that exists somewhere. Someone's gotta have some good pictures of Freddie Mercury and me that year. It was a pretty fun experience. I want to break free. I didn't really pay attention to the people other than a teenage girl who was experiencing an anxiety attack, which is only relevant as it was the reason for why I spoke to the man who sat across from me. He seemed like your average white dude. He looked about 30, was missing a tooth, and whom I noticed kept looking up from his phone and at me. This man moved seats to sit next to me and began to ask questions like, "What's your name and what college do you go to?" I couldn't lie as my lanyard around my neck literally gave him the information he was asking about. It was a conversation I had had with random people whom had sparked a conversation with me during the short bus journeys, so Oh, God damn it, I swallowed too much spit. It was a conversation I had had with random people whom had sparked conversation with me during the short bus journeys, so I answered him, not thinking much about it and holding my phone in my lap. He quickly changed the subject and began to... God. I'm feeling like did I read this story already? Miss Bellatrixa with the 2 says, I'm seeing Elton John in VIP next year. Oh, that's sweet. That should be awesome. The concert has to be done by 9 p.m. And because he's got a bedtime. Yeah, I feel like I read this already. Harassment at bus stop. I feel like this was on Reddit and we already got... Like, they posted it here as well. It's been 4 months to think about... Okay, the woman double-checked that I was okay and even sat next to me on the bus telling me that she had been listening in. Yeah, she advised me to tell a trusted guardian and also the police. I did tell my grandparents, who dismissed it immediately. Oh, something that happens to everyone. Yeah, I already read this one. Don't read this story. You already read it. Alright, so... I'll read that one, the What Just Happened to Me. I need to break free. What? Oh. It will come up if I go physically to my notifications, but before it used to actually send me a notification that would pop up on my screen. Now I never know unless I constantly check. See, that's so weird. I don't understand why YouTube doesn't just... I mean, if you want something, why can't just, like, clicking that notification bell give you your anticipated content, or, you know what I mean? Whatever. I don't know. We have to page Susan Wojcicki or whatever her name is. You know, like, being the CEO of YouTube, like, what could possibly, like, what, I mean, I guess you're a CEO of, like, a company, so there's a lot of things you keep track of, but, like, as far as the content goes, how do you, as a probably 50-year-old woman, have any idea of content creation and that kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like, how would she ever be able to relate from that standpoint? But I guess at the end of the day, that's not really her. Probably not something she concerns herself with. Bennikin's art with the 2 says, insert swallow joke here, lol. Swallowed. Oh, Coco Joe just got notice you're alive. Yeah, that sucks, because we're on the last story here, and I don't understand, like YouTube wants you to, like, stream for 8 hours straight if you want to have any success with getting people to come to your stream. Like, I mean, that's why I try to promote a little bit on social media and that kind of thing, but I don't know. She's an eccentric microdoser, that's pretty funny. Susan will be cleaned by the order of Mr. Clean. Please don't clean her. Leave her dirty. We've lost track of the mistakes. Before I type this, I'm going to have to give a little bit of an idea to what the layout on my... God damn it. Before I type this, I'm going to have to give you a little bit of an idea to what the layout of my house is. I live in England. My bedroom is on the 2nd floor, right beside my parents' bedroom. As you come out of my room, the stairs to the landing and hallway are just in front. On the 1st floor, you have 4 rooms, but the only ones that are important is the kitchen and the living room, which are beside each other. The thing about our kitchen, though, is that at the end of our kitchen, we have a door that leads into another few rooms, which was probably meant to be a self-contained flat or apartment. And then in here, we have a door that leads to the back garden. The garden is basically a little fenced-in wooded area, and my window points towards the garden. As I'm typing this, it happened about 15 minutes ago. I woke up at about 2:30 a.m. to my cat knocking something over in my room, then climbing out of my window. I saw eyes. I definitely saw something. I left my curtains open and my window slightly open too. I was really annoyed since our cat is typically a house cat and isn't allowed out during the night. So I go to my window and try to call him back in, but can't see him anywhere. At this point, I'm thinking he's probably jumped down to my patio. Just under my window is a bit of the roof and was quite high up, but I couldn't see my cat, so it was the only option that he had jumped down to my patio. At this point, I throw a jumper on and slippers and have my phone in hand with the flashlight turned on. I go into the kitchen, but as I get to the room that leads into the back garden, I close the door that goes to the kitchen. I walk to the back door, open it, and point my flashlight around. Norma's Jeans with a 2 says, streams keep me sane at work just 10 more hours. That is a long work shift, my friend. Natalia says you've never had issues with the bell, always within 1 to 2 minutes. That's good. Yeah, definitely if you guys haven't hit that bell, be sure to hit it so you know when new videos come out and stuff. You know, there's like 3 options. You can subscribe, you can be notified when new videos come out, or you can never be notified, you know, so I don't really know what the point of that is, but yeah, the bell is probably the best option if you want to get them immediately, which I would prefer you to get them immediately. That would be ideal. I walked to the back door, opened it, and pointed my flashlight around, but I couldn't see anything, so I left the door open and walked out a few steps to see if I could find the cat. Keep in mind, to get to the door behind me, you would have to go right in my line of sight. When I couldn't see anything, I decided the best course of action was to... God damn it. I'm starting to fudge up. When I couldn't see anything, I decided the best course of action would be to wake my parents up and tell them what's going on. So I walked back inside the house, shutting and locking the door behind me, then going to the kitchen and locking that door too. I walked out of the kitchen and into the living room where I was going to try and work out how to tell my parents that my cat decided to go out the window at 2 a.m. But when I turned the light on, sitting on the sofa was my cat. I definitely saw something leave from my room, but if it wasn't my cat, what was it? Oh boy. Cats are very sneaky. Alright, almost kidnapped. I feel like I should read another one because I feel like these were really short. Alright, I'll read these 2. We'll call it 12 stories. Fuck it, bruh. Almost kidnapped and what just happened. I gotta give you guys your money's worth, you know what I mean? And I do have the notification bell on, so W2F. Yeah, I don't know, Jay, that's crazy. Freaking the government, man. They're trying to hold you back from getting that good night's sleep and shit. That stinks that Grumpy Cat's dead. I mean, I know that most of my entire life was spent sitting outside of this house trying to woo him out of it so I could give him a pat on his head, and he never did, and I actually, from outside his window, watched him die, so I was definitely his biggest fan, and when he died it really affected my life because now I have no one to stalk, so other than that, you know, I could give 2 shits less. No, I'm just kidding. Joel, can you get me some juice? What kind of juice you want, Mello? Some love juice? Pussy chat. Now that is a good idea. Alrighty. Memes and tidy. Yeah, I'm not super stoked about Child's Play, the Chucky thing, because Chucky had a certain look to him, and he hadn't had that, you know, like, and the series evolved. And I understand And I understand that it hasn't been doing well in previous years, but I think that's because it just sucked. You know, like maybe Child's Play, maybe it was time for Child's Play to die. Or at least, at the very least, not have some like huge budget to it or anything like that, you know. But to completely reboot it, thinking that they're gonna somehow when is the last time a reboot done well? When is the last time a reboot has just like completely wowed you and you're like, oh my god, thank god they rebooted this shit? No one cares, especially not about Chucky. And they made him look like a freaking weirdo too, like completely the opposite personality that he was like filled with that like the voice actor and stuff. Now granted, the first couple Chuckies were a lot meaner, like, you know, it had a lot more scare to it because it was a lot more serious, but oh my god, yeah, and the Pet Sematary remake, like why even waste, they sit there and act like they don't want to invest money in new ideas because they can't be certain of a return. Well, tell me what kind of return is going to be brought back by Chucky or Pet Sematary. Like, for God's sakes, those were not movies that needed to be remade. And whoever, like, and then I just don't know which direction they're going with in Hollywood, and it honestly seems like it's being run by monkeys with poop in their brains. Wait, did I already read this as well? Shit. Wait, I did already read this. I'm an idiot. Oh yeah. I clicked what just happened. Why did they post what just happened twice? Why would they post it twice? Oh my god, they posted it twice and both of them got like 7 to 9 upvotes. Like, what in the freak? What in the mother freak? Miss Bellatrixa with the 2 says dead is better. Yeah. Just let series die. It's time, you know, like, just give us some new ideas. Like, we want, like, Chucky wouldn't exist if you didn't give it a try, you know what I mean? And I understand they don't want to, like, invest money, but why would you invest money into a series that clearly is not going to bring you any sort of return? I understand, like, people say, like, oh, it's a reboot, but, like, at least it seemed like they put a lot of, like, effort into it, you know what I mean? Like, all this other stuff just seems like it's, like, the passed by the wayside dog shit that no one's gonna give a fuck about. And who knows, maybe there's some sort of mathematical formula that I'm completely unaware of whenever you release a remake in the month of May or June and it's you know, fucking Pet Sematary or Chucky, you're guaranteed to make your money back, guys. I promise you. Like a big Texas guy with a big bucket hat or something like that, and he's got all these business plans, but Jesus Christ, like, literally, you know what they should do? Just call up an anime company that was good and say, hey, we'd like to buy your anime from you for half the price or whatever. Whatever would be a reasonable price. So literally the whole movie is done, and then just release it in theaters, and I almost can guarantee you that a large amount of people would probably go see like a really good anime in theaters. Like, I feel like that's a strong possibility, and I could be wrong, but if they're so afraid to, like, invest in movie ideas, then why not just, rather than making remakes and putting all this money and all this stuff into it, you know, like, I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'm just rambling about nothing. Seth Glass with the 25 buckaroonies says, hello, friend. Well, hello, Seth. Thank you for the huge donation. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Azriel Cinderfall says, what would you do if a fan donated $200 million and requested you do several short story films of your stories? I'd be all on board with that. I honestly, like, one of my biggest dreams, I think, aside from just, like, being a voice actor for, like, a popular anime or movie or whatever, I've always kind of wanted to do the thing that, you know, like Studio Ghibli does, where they run a studio where they make films and that kind of thing, and obviously I think it would be very difficult to do, but I've always felt that if you can find the appropriate talent, you know what I mean, if you can really bring together a cohesive idea, I feel as if though I have the capabilities in my head of like bringing together a cohesive ideas and individuals together as sort of like a in a directing sense, you know, as well as lending any sort of talents or ideas that would be necessary. Obviously that's kind of a pipe dream. I have no idea how you really do any of that, but I think that would be the coolest thing ever, just to like create. Just to create. Like, creating is just such a satisfying thing, and I think everyone should do it. Thomas Fries with the 2 says, what did you think of chemtrails? Oh, they're everywhere, man. We actually haven't had too many chemtrails in our skies as of lately, so it's been really nice whenever when we get a sunny day, it's not completely blocked out by a bunch of random trails. Venikins with 5 says, my mate and I have this theory. Once a series ends up in a space, you're done. Hellraiser, Highlander. Oh, ends up in space. Jason X, yeah. No, that's so true. It's so funny, though, because I love those, like, really sort of, like, shitty things that end up on Sci-Fi Channel or something like that, like Hellraiser. Do you ever see Wishmaster? Wishmaster is such a funny movie, because that guy's voice is, like, really cool. But it's just like really gratuitously violent for no reason, and you know, you're like, every wish you make is just guaranteed to just actually get you killed. Okay, what just happened? Almost kidnapped. The danger next door? Is that, did I read that one? Wait, fudge. Sorry, guys. Okay, what just happened? Okay. Okay, I'll just read this one and then we'll figure it out as we go. This happened when I was a senior in high school. It was around 8:30 a.m. when I walked to school there with... Oh, shit, sorry. Fuck. Let's see. This happened when I was a senior in high school. It was around 8:30 a.m. when I decided to walk to school. There were 2 ways I could walk, but I decided to take the shortcut with the dead end. I know this was stupid, but I had walked there before millions of times, and it was the broad daylight. As I was walking through the dead end, I am halfway walking and I see a white car slowing down. I thought it was weird because there's literally nothing there, so I assumed they were lost. Then I see one guy get out of the car and walks behind me. I already had a weird feeling in my gut, so I started to pick up the pace. That's when another guy gets out and walks on the opposite side of the street. I quickly panic and they start walking as fast as me. I noticed the white car starting to get closer and closer. Both the guys in the car were saying something like maybe a plan. My grandma lives behind the dead-end block and my only option was to run. I don't know why I decided to call the cops. I guess I just... Why I didn't, I don't know why I didn't decide to call the cops. I guess I just decided to go with flight. As soon as I started running, both of the men started running to catch up with me, and I was unable to cross the street. And that's when some woman drove up to me and asked if I needed some help, or if she could drive me anywhere. She told me that those guys were following me and that it's not safe for me to be alone. In my head, I thought that she could be part of the plan or something trying to lure me in. I got in her car anyway, thinking I knew I couldn't outrun them, and I didn't want them to know where my grandparents live, so I asked her to drive me to school. Long story short, they followed us for a bit and then decided to leave. I was so scared but so grateful that that woman decided to save my life. Who knows what would happen? I wish I had gotten her number down or something so I could be able to take her out. She told me she sensed something was wrong when she saw me running frantically and said she had a niece in the same school as me and would want someone to do the same for her. She had told me never to walk the streets alone and showed me more compassion than my mother ever did. I am forever grateful to her. I had a sense that something was going wrong when you were frantically running away from two kidnappers. When I saw you running, screaming bloody murder, I had a feeling that something bad was happening. I didn't know, but I felt it in my instinctual gut that potentially you, frantically waving your hands around, help, 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 meant you may have needed help. I'm not sure, though. Miss Bellatrixia, horror is my porn. That's pretty funny. Verbal speed bumps. Camden says he asked her crush to rate him and he only was rated 7 out of 10. Well, Cam, you are a 10 out of 10 in my book. Okay, so stepsister, we got that. What just happened? We read that. Almost kidnapped, did that. The danger next door. Did we already read that one? Okay. Wohnheim. A commune house. A Wohnheim. Okay. This will be the last story for the night, and I think it'll be a good one to end on, because I think we got like 12 stories. I wanted to make sure we got enough like true stories, because I didn't want it to be like over... I didn't want it to be like overly paranormal-esque. Venikins with a 5. She is being extraordinarily generous tonight and says, I'd watch Michael Myers in space. It'd be him, a big-ass knife, and the Space Odyssey music in the background, all the while Mike has a vacant stare float. That would actually be perfect. Like, and then he slowly attaches himself to a ship and crawls in. It's me, Mikey Myers. I'm in space. That means the series over. Favorite tank if I got one. Like fish tank? Or like Panzer tank? More Skinwalker stories. I would like to. A year ago I moved into a commune house, a Wohnheim. All seemed quite nice on my floor, just 2 people were behaving quite strange. As time passed, one of them, Jack, made unsensible statements. He already has a 3-year-old child that lives in Hungary with his girlfriend. He's in Germany for 3 years. He talks a lot about sexy girls and what he wants to do to them. He walks around half naked a lot, even when it's pretty cold, and gave me strange, hungry stares besides compliments. You notice quickly that Jack doesn't have respect for women. The conversation that angers me till now is, you'd only love one person. If a couple gets a child, the man only loves the woman, and the woman only loves the child. That, to give you a picture of his character. Then for 1 semester he studied in Uganda, and the owner rented the room to a 40-year-old woman from China named Lynn. But Jack came back a month too early, and then the strange behavior got worse. He broke into the empty room next to me to sleep there. He was passive-aggressive a lot and pressured Lynn to take in his stuff. He knocked at her door at inappropriate times just to say goodnight or to get through his stuff slowly without taking anything out of his luggage. One night in the morning at 6 a.m., I needed to visit a friend in another city. I noticed the commotion in front of her room. Lynn walked in her evening robe nervously up... What? Lynn walked in her evening robe... It says rope. Nervously up and down the... Okay, maybe a robe. Lynn also was getting pressured. They met 3 days. What the fuck? Oh. Lynn walked in her evening robe nervously up and down the corridor. I invited her for some minutes into my room. She teared up while telling me how scared she is of Jack, maybe taking her stuff or hurting her. Lynn also was getting pressured because Jack said she would disappoint him, her good friend, if she puts out his stuff. What the fuck does that even mean? Lynn also was getting pressured because Jack said she would disappoint if her good friend. She would disappoint him, her good friend, if she puts out his stuff. Oh. I don't know. Wait, rope? How is it rope? Night rope? Lynn walked in her evening rope. Yeah, maybe she just has like a G-string, but it's just a straight up rope. This is my evening rope. Tie me up, Daddy. Lynn also was getting pressured because Jack said that she would disappoint him. Her good friend. What the fuck does that mean? Sorry. This is not English. That's the hard part. Lynn was also getting pressured because Jack said she would disappoint him, her good friend, if she puts out his stuff. I don't know what that means, but whatever. Lynn also was getting pressured because Jack said that he would be extremely disappointed by his good friend if she puts his stuff out. The truth is, they don't actually know each other. They met 3-day prayer and barely... What? They met 3-day prayer? They met at a 3-day prayer and barely talked. So I said she shouldn't fear anything and I would support her. So she wrote in on our floor's WhatsApp group that she wants the stuff out. After Jack was trying his "Don't Make Me Sad" number, I jumped in writing that she is doing the right thing. Then Jack's tone changed immediately. He threatened, telling me to shut my mouth, and apparently knocked on my door while I was at a friend's place. My boyfriend opened the door. When I came home, he was in shock, telling me how scared Jack was, ranting about how he can let me... God damn it. When I came home, he was in shock. Telling me how scary Jack was, ranting about how he came and said that he can make me disappear. My boyfriend says he needs to tell me a story. What? Okay. My boyfriend says he needs to tell me a story that made me... This is like a final boss in the reading community. I just want to say that. Bennikins with the $2 says, what if Mike Myers ran into Kirk while in space? Wait, I've forgotten who Kirk is. Oh, Kirk from Star Trek. That would be sweet. I wonder, they're like, we found an anomaly. Very strange. Oh, he's cutting off my head. Ouch. Beam me up, Scotty. Okay. My boyfriend opened the door. When I came home, he was shocked. My boyfriend said he needs to tell me a story that made me lock my door properly every night now. I'll just do it sentence by sentence, re-editing whatever the person's trying to say. My boyfriend told me a story that essentially made me lock my door properly every night now. He bragged about taking me to a place, something called Gala. Wait, what? He bragged about taking place in something called a gala. Jack and his friends were used to going out. One of them would try to seduce a girl, would bring her home, bandage her eyes, and another person would have sex with her without her knowing it. Dude, this is so discombobulated. But it's also a story that could potentially be scary, and we need a scary... Jack and his friends were used to going... What the fuck? Why is that important? My boyfriend said that he needed to tell me a story, and That story made me... God. I'm gonna cry. My boyfriend said that he needs to tell me a story that made me lock my door properly every night now. God, it's like 2 layers of like... Okay, I got this. My boyfriend said that he needs to tell me a story that had me locking my door properly every night now. Apparently, Jack bragged about taking me to a place called Gala. Jack and his friends were used to going out. One of them would try to seduce a girl. He would bring her home, bandage her eyes, and another person would have their way with her, without her knowing it. For 2 weeks now, not only Jack would behave strangely, even Lynn started being different. She only saw sides. Whoever didn't agree was an enemy, and she developed a paranoia. Lynn eventually moved out. Since then, she stalked one other girl who stays on the floor, who was a former friend of hers. Lynn even stood in front of her window watching this former friend. She didn't want to do anything else out of fear. Jack still lives here. He's still passive-aggressive and tries to get me kicked out of the building and insults me in the GroupMe. I'm just scared of what he's capable of. Both Lynn and Jack gave me the creeps, and I don't know if I have the money to leave. Whew, we did it. Holy crap. I just literally was making stuff up there, so we're good. Just kidding. Most of it's real, but it's also kind of a weird thing, just suddenly Lynn becomes the stalker. It's like, okay. Alright, Throatzilla with the 550 Canadians, his first stream ever. You're the best. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And Miss Bellatrixis says, my cat loves licking plastic bags. Dude, my cat loves licking plastic bags. That's so funny. Pradeep, like he hates when plastic bags get like fluffled, like a trash bag. He'll literally see my roommate grab a trash bag to change it and then just like take off sprinting like 100 miles an hour. But then he'll come up to the trash bag and like lick it, and it's like, what is going on? Crystal Moon with the 2 says you're awesome. Thank you, Crystal Moon. You are awesome as well. Well, guys, we have reached the end. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stories for tomorrow for the subscriber store phrase. Those will be coming out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now we have to think of what to say. So you can hear the story. I'm going to do my outro, but I'm going to say something unique that only you guys, the viewers of the stream, will recognize when you hear it. Potentially something related to that Winnie the Pooh video. Oh, what a bother. Oh, bother. Actually, let me look it back up. It's the greatest video of all time. Maybe not all time. I feel like the internet always has, like, the greatest video of all time every time. Oh, yeah, dummy thick. Oh, brother.
Oh, bother. I'm so stuffed with fluff. I'm dummy thick.
Oh, bother. I'm so stuffed with fluff. I'm dummy thick. Oh my god, that's the funniest. Okay. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and remember, I'm so stuffed with fluff. I'm dummy thick. Venikins with the $5 to go says, fun fact, the Mike Myers mask was a Kirk mask they spray painted for a movie. Whoa. That's actually really weird and funny. Looks just like me, Jim. Spitting image. I'm dummy thick. Well, chirp, 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 my friends. We have reached the end. A sad turn of affairs, but I will be back tomorrow night, not for streaming, but for videos that come out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those videos are dummy thick, and I'll usually be streaming the night before videos, kind of the creation of things. You can witness that whole experience. Oh, fluff. Oh, bother. I can't even do the voice anymore. Should get an animator every once in a while, make the stories come alive. I would. I'm looking for an animator, a legit, solid animating boy or girl. But yes, be sure to join the Discord for a little bit of after-party action if you guys are interested. You might catch me in there from time to time, chatting. Love to chat with you. Links, everything, all the links are down below. You know I love you guys, and I really appreciate you being here. This was a good time. Keep the memes coming, keep the love coming. I'll keep the spooky stories coming. We'll all just be coming. Alright, see you later.